Today we are going to be talking about your test review and going over like testing procedures that you're going to see throughout the day just to kind of calm your nerves down a little bit so that you're not nervous for your first test. So what we're going to do is we're going to first look at this griddable. There's going to be a couple griddable type questions on your test, and I want to make sure that you understand how this works. So for example, it says practicing griddable with numbers, so we have -7 and 9/10. Now, looking here, a lot of students think that they have to put zeros in here. They put 0, 0, 0, 0, and then they bubble in these zeros here. Now, if you do that, it's okay. It's not going to mark it, the computer's not going to mark it wrong. However, that's a waste of time because, I mean, in real life, we do not write numbers as -0007.90. That's not how we write numbers in real life. We would just write it as -7 and 9/10. So that's all you have to put in on the griddable when you grid this. Now, there are some zeros that are important. So if I'm looking at 120, this 0 right here, that's an important 0 that we have to make sure that we grid. So here we have 23 hundredths. Now, 23 hundredths, some people write their decimals as 0.23. However, in real life, people do write decimals as 0.23, and that's it. So looking here, there's this 0 here. Now, do I have to grid it? No. But if you do grid it, will it also count it right? Yes. So you don't have to grid it. It's okay. It's not a big deal. Stuff like that. Okay. The other question that I keep getting today is the fact that if I have a positive number, do I have to bubble in the positive? Now, technically, when you write a number down, do I write plus 58 and 96 hundredths? No, I don't write the plus sign in front of it. I just assume it's positive, and I would just write 58 and 96 hundredths. So this plus sign right here, I technically do not have to bubble in the positive number, but I will tell you this. The people who forget to bubble in the positives are the ones that forget to bubble in the negatives. So we have to be very careful about that. The other thing that I want to point out is this. A lot of students ask me, do I have to write the numbers at the top in this section? Technically, no. So basically what happens is the computer does not read your handwriting. It reads the bubbles. Now, the reason why these are at the top is some students will accidentally put, let's say they're writing -2, they put the 2 here. And the computer is going to read this as -.2, and it's going to be wrong. So what we do is we put the 2's, like this 2 at the top, so that we understand the place value. So we have to be very careful about doing this. Next, what we're going to go over is this progress. So what we're going to do is we're going to make goals for this 6 weeks. So we have a grade for your first 6 weeks. So overall, that's including your major, your minor, and your other grades. What grade would you like to get? And you're going to place it here. The math goal for the 6 weeks is a non-grade type goal. So I want, for example, I want to turn in all my homework this week on time, this 6 weeks on time. I want to make sure my math ISN is neat because I'm a messy person. That could be a goal. Okay, so Unit 1, Test 1, we have here. And in this Unit 1, this column right here, this is going to be our first test. So it says we're going to take our blue marker, I don't care what color it is, and we're going to just write a line, do not shade it in. We're going to write, okay, I want to make a 75. That would be maybe a goal that I would want on my first test. If you want to make a 90 or 95, go for it. I would not make my goal 100. Not yet. Okay? So the reason why we're only putting a line is because later when we actually get our test back, we're going to shade in what we actually got on the test. So we got a 90, we would shade all the way to 90. That means we went past our goal, which is good. Okay? So right here we have our tab page. Now your tab page is red, and so when we're looking at this, this is basically telling you what is going to be on the test. So for example, because you already have this, this is actually telling you what is on the test. Now, first thing I want to point out is this is not 3 and the square root of 2. This is 3 divided by 2. I couldn't figure out how to make it on the actual test or actual thing to make it look like the division sign. So that's what that's supposed to mean. So what I would like you to do is you're going to go through and you're going to assess yourself. So you're like, I can solve for absolute value and find numbers and its opposite. So you're like, yes, I can do that. Like, that's really easy. But let's say you're like, I can make equivalent forms of fractions and decimals. You're like, ooh, I don't really think I know how to do that. So you would put a frowny face and you're like, okay, this is something I'm going to need to study for my test. Okay, so also, some students ask if they could put a smiley face in the middle because they're like, they're not kind of sad about it, but they're not happy about it. They're kind of like in this middle. It's okay to put a smiley face in the middle. It's your ISN. It's your way to track yourself. So that's kind of like what you need to do. Okay. Things that I want to point out for studying for a test. Review your notes, highlight important parts, rework problems, and then check yourself when answering in your notes. We do not do all the problems in the workbook. Complete those. Rewatch the Learn Zillion videos. Also, we have on Canvas. If you go to Canvas and you upload Canvas, okay, math, okay. If you go to assignments, and then let's say this is the first 6 weeks, and let's say the second week of school, you're like, I don't remember how to order integers. You can literally click second 6 weeks of school, and you can look up the videos. What? I record the videos every single day. So you can go back and rewatch the videos to help you out. Okay? Testing procedures. Now, I am Miss Perrine recording this, and now each teacher has different testing procedures. Some of them are the same, some are different. So in all the classes, you only have 1 class period to finish your test. In junior high, you don't get extra time. You also have to have your cell phones off when you come in. Everyone must have an office and a pencil on their desk. So you come in, grab an office, sit at your desk, put a pencil. Now, things you need to have a book to read. However, my class in general, we have number 5 and number 6 on testing procedures. That's for Miss Perrine's class. I don't know how Miss Dabney or Mrs. Smith or Mrs. Lutz or Mrs. Clark, like, I don't know how they do it. So, I'm sorry. So, what I do is I always put the book bags at the front of the room so we are not tempted on cheating. And then we are going to turn our tests into the bin, which is right next to my smartboard. So let's go over the test review. And I'm going to go over this in detail, so you can always fast forward through this if you're like, hey, I only don't understand number 6. So go ahead and fast forward if you want to through the video so that you can find out which number I'm on. So when it says which one shows in orders from least to greatest. Now, if we're looking at a number line, this is the one that a lot of people are confused about because if you look, all of these are negative numbers. So when we're looking at a number line, okay, positive, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, but when we go in the other direction, so -1, -2, -3, -4, and it goes the opposite way. So this one right here, G, that would be if it was positive, it would be 2, 3, 5, 6, but it's negative, so it's the opposite way of what we think. Same with J. Both of these answers are not correct because they go in the opposite direction. H is not correct because -2 and -3 are mixed up. So number 2 says Ashley went scuba diving and recycled a depth of 23 feet below sea level. So that would be at negative 23. What is the absolute value of the depth Ashley reached? So we need to find the absolute value of negative 23. And the absolute value of that is h. Number 3, the table shows the heights of 4 students. Which one is furthest away from sea level? Okay, so furthest away from sea level means I need to find the absolute value. So here's my mountain, right? And which one's the furthest from sea level? So here's my C. Well, Allie's at 23 feet. Derek's at negative 9 feet. Lydia's at negative 12, and we have Christopher who's at 7. So Allie up here is at 23. She's the furthest away from 0. Even though these ones are in the negatives, it's okay. Like, we're trying to find the absolute value. Which one's the furthest away from 0? Or what's the distance away from 0? So this is all about absolute value. Number 4, Josie wrote the temperature on the table, which shows from warmest to coldest. So this one's extremely important that we do warmest to coldest. That would be from greatest to least. So if you look here, this one, A is from least to greatest. B is also least to greatest, kind of. So now we're looking at C and D. So we're on a number line. So here we have 12, that's our biggest, then 10. Now here we're at 0. What's going to happen is these negative numbers are going to kind of like flip. So if I'm going like this, it's going to be negative 8 and then negative 15. So it's greatest, which is 12, 10, negative 8, negative 15. So the answer is D for this one. Number 7 is the one most people miss on the test, is because they look at 375 thousandths and they don't understand how to simplify a fraction. So 15/40ths, if I divide it by 25 and then I divide it by 5 again, which is 3/8. Number 8 is 3 and 3/25ths. So we have 12 hundredths and we divide that by 4 and we're going to get 3/25ths. Okay, so it's 3 and 3/25ths. Number 9 is 6/10 repeating. So when we divide a fraction by a decimal, we're going to put 2 on the inside and this one on the outside. So we're going to do that for each one and divide it out. Another way we can do it, we can also use place value denominators. So we have 4/5. I can change that into tenths by multiplying by 2, multiplying by 2. So we have 8/10, which is equal to 8/10. We can use place value denominator or we can divide. So we have the other question that says fractions least to greatest. Now most students miss this because they write the decimals down. Now things that we have to note are that when we're looking and trying to order them, this 6/10 repeating goes out 6, 6, 6, 6. Then we have 6, 2, 5, 0, and then 8, 0, 0, 0. So when we're comparing this, we have to realize what's happening. So this one is going to be your biggest, and this one is going to be your smallest. So this one's the smallest, this one's the greatest. So our answer is going to be 5/8, 2/3, and then 4/5. Number 12. On the coordinate plane, draw the rectangle WXYZ. So here's my rectangle WXYZ with the vertices of W, negative 1, 4, negative 1, 1, 5, 1, and then 5, 4. So each of the lengths of the rectangle are 6 across, 3 down, 6 across, 3 up. So it says I need to label all of the quadrants and find the perimeter. Well, the perimeter means the distance around the rectangle. So 6 plus 3 plus 6 plus 3 is 18 units. Now there's no labeling, so we're just going to write units. The other thing that the question wants me to do is label all the quadrants. So this would be quadrant 1, this one would be quadrant 2, here we have quadrant 3, and here we have quadrant 4. And also remember, quadrants are labeled as Roman numerals. Number 13, this is another one that a lot of people don't know how to do. So we're looking at here, this says what's the opposite of negative 17/4. Now, parentheses just make it look nice. So if I put negative 2, it doesn't look nice. So a lot of the times what people will do is they will put the parentheses in there. So they're going to be like, okay, what's negative 2? So that we can like distinguish that, hey, that's a negative 2. Now, does it mean anything different? No. It just makes it all look nice. Okay, so we have the opposite of negative 17/4 is positive 17/4. So this answer is going to be positive. The next one was the absolute value of 4 and 25/100. This one's going to be positive. If I look at D, that's also a positive number. Now when I'm looking at the opposite of the absolute value of 17/4, the absolute value of 17/4 is 17/4. And I want to know what's the opposite of that. So that would be negative 17/4. So this answer right here is negative. So I really don't even have to convert any of these. If we have a positive, a negative, and a positive, which one is not equivalent to 4 and 1/4? It's going to be the negative number. So that would be C. For number 4, 4 points are graphed on the coordinate grid. Which ordered pair does not appear to be representative of these? Okay, so if we look here, A is 5/2 and negative 3. So 5/2 is the same as 2.5 and then negative 3. So we're going to go 2.5 and then down 3 because we have to do the x first, the y second. The next one, let's do C first. So 3/2 is the same as 1.5. 2. So we go 1.5, 2. So we have to do the x first and then we do the y. And then D, we're looking at going negative 4, half. So that's where D is. Now B, on the other hand, is a little bit different. So it's saying, okay, go negative 1 and then go down negative 1.5, and I end up right here. That is, this little thing right here is not B. So the answer is going to be B. So that one does not appear to be represented. Okay, I will tell you this was one of the questions on the STAR test last year. So just to kind of get you to practice that. So things that you need to know, again, are on this sheet right here. This tells you exactly what's going to be on your test. So I hope this video helps. Have a great day.